As the title suggests, Titanic Hydra on garbage is moron. You are a idiot little noob baka if you build that, and I will show you what you should build instead and why. And not just the first item, by the end of the video you will understand what is Briar's purpose in the game, what are her win conditions, and what you should build throughout the game, mid, late game, whatever. It will be a mini guide for Briar. If you guys don't know me, I'm a challenger jungler and coach. We got a follow from Promisogynist, whatever. Thank you so much for that, buddy. This is off stream, by the way, not streaming or something. If you guys, want to check out my Twitch, link is in the description. Either way, on my main channel I have build guides. This is my secondary channel where I do some reviews, some mini guides, just some VODs, posting live games from stream, whatever. But let's get into it. No more bullshitting. I'm doing a chill full clear on Briar here. Not the cleanest thing ever. I don't know how to completely squeeze all of the juice from her clear speed yet. I would need to put some more research and practice into Briar. Either way, I really look into the builds quite a lot, and I came to the conclusion that Titanic Hydra is bad. Why? Because one thing, it is quite expensive and the build pet is bad. Briar does not need wave clear to function. She already has Tiamat on her W, of course. Then, what you also have to consider is that she is pretty based around CDR, around her spell rotations, for mobility, CC, sustain, even finishing off camps is based around getting your second W as fast as possible in order to get that bite, which does a lot of damage at low health. Just a chill full clear on Briar. It's a champion where you can collect a lot of resources and farm. It's a carry character, you want to be as red as possible. Of course I'm gonna go for that full clear, which is really the only way to play the jungle nowadays, guys. You pretty much know this already. I mean, we just do a little bit of pinging here, and I end up buying pickaxe with glowing mode. And just look at my runes a bit. We have PTA, Sudden Impact, Coup de Grace. This has pretty strong snowballing potential combined with Treasure Hunter as well. Not much to say, except that you deal a lot of burst damage and you can execute enemies and snowball the game in early game, where you're becoming a little bit of an assassin-ish character. But you notice I have Legend Haste, so I go Legend Haste because alacrity does not really matter much on Briar, because you don't have actual steroids except for your W, but it's not gonna affect alacrity. What you want is haste to get this bite as often as possible, to stun and dash as much as you can with a Q. And of course, if you combine that with Black Cleaver, you get really low cooldowns. You can constantly speed up your clear by having high uptime on the attack speed, dashing through walls, and finishing off camps with another cast of the bite, of course. But why Black Cleaver? Well, what you have to understand about Briar, without over-explaining this, not making it too complicated, we have HP ratios on the passive, which increases your healing from all sources. This is like Aatrox ult, which just increases healing, but it scales with bonus HP. So does the W. We pick up some free kills in the bot lane, not a big deal. From IR for the brand, don't catch him. And of course the E also has a 10% max health HP ratio. So you really want an HP item first. That's why people build Titanic Hydra, because it has 600 HP. It's a lot of fucking HP for one item slot. When it comes to bruiser items, it has the highest HP, which makes it pretty attractive, pretty juicy, right? And not only that, you'll later understand what is Briar's win condition in the game, and you'll understand why the HP is even more important than it seems, not just for these sustained fights in early game, where of course you don't want to get bursted down with champion. You want to press as many abilities as possible and make the fights long, where Briar will out-sustain most champions in League of Legends. But the reason why Black Cleaver is really good, besides the HP and haste, it's also because you can shred the armor really quickly due to Crimson Curse. And you will also get movement speed for the full duration, because this is working on physical damage. The build pet is amazing, and then if you compare it bar to Titanic Hydra, not only the item is much cheaper, 300 gold is a lot in League of Legends, it can be a few minutes of game time, especially for a jungler, if you have nothing to do, you'll have to wait 2 minutes for other camps to respawn, right? And I was able to buy Black Cleaver plus boots, so now I have a huge movement speed advantage in fights compared to if I were to go Titanic Hydra. And of course the build pet is also much better. Hope you now have an idea why Black Cleaver is pretty good. But not only that, you might be wondering, well, I got Titanic Hydra for the burst damage so I can kill my target. Well, if you do some experiments in-game to get a feeling for it, or even in practice tool, you'll notice that even for short bursts, where you'll not get too much value from the Black Cleaver armor pen, you'll realize that Black Cleaver still does about the same damage as Titanic Hydra, because the Titanic Hydra on hit is quite weak in early game when you don't have a lot of bonus HP. It has been pretty nerfed. Titanic is mostly an utility item. So this thing gives you utility through the armor pen for allies, the movement speed, the ability haste. It's also much cheaper. The damage is about the same. You don't need a wave clear on Briar because you already have Tiamat on your W. Why would you build Titanic Hydra? It doesn't make any sense. Let's go back to this gameplay. I'm just full clearing, chilling, picking up some free kills if I can, throw an ult for fun on these guys because they're overextending in the bot lane, and I know I have all the information. I'm using the R like that kind of carelessly because I know that I don't really need it to win this fight. I got my Akali there, it's gonna be an easy 2v2. Well, not super easy. Varus broken champion, and he was pretty strong, and this guy lived with about 11 HP. Bit unfortunate, but you've seen there, because I have this CDR, there we go. I jump on him again. If I were Titanic Hydra with maybe Alacrity, which a lot of people also play, I would not have enough CDR on my abilities. Of course I messed up a bit and I have my 3 points in Q for some reason. W should be maxed by now. Don't do that. And because I'm playing against a lot of range squishy champions, these runes allow me to snowball pretty hard, and Briar is a champion that wants to snowball, wants to fight, wants to abuse her kill potential. You have pretty good kill potential on Briar because of the movement speed, the gap closing, and the stun. Targeted stun. There we go. I have all of these abilities, I jump over walls, I find an angle in the enemy jungle. I buy Mercury Shreds, of course. You want that on Briar in most games because CC is her biggest enemy, and as long as enemies have a lot of CC like this, it's pretty brain-dead, mandatory, not really a question. Here, if I had my W at 5 points, I would have maybe had enough feeling to not die to this guy's auto-attack, and then maybe turn it around. Or I could just flash you and I'll give the shutdown. It's just a mistake. I'm gonna focus on the bigger picture. Then you might be wondering, well, you still want to buy more damage on Briar, you don't want to go into tankiness right away, because she gets tankiness from AD because of her passive and because of her W. It's kind of like Aatrox or Kayn, where you buy damage, you get tankiness. Now have a look at this ult. This is how you're looking to play Briar, alright? Think about it, just be smart. Akali is approaching him. I'm looking to ult because he's pushing mid lane. And of course, he's not gonna run into Akali to the right side to dodge it, especially if he pays attention to my ultimate. So of course he's going to hug this side. And it's a very high chance that I'm going to hit him unless he somehow took this corridor, which is a little bit riskier because he doesn't know if I'm here, right? So he's gonna run to his tower, which means I land a free ult. And this is pretty easy to land in this position. You just have to think, what will the enemy think in this situation? Of course, there's also the off chance that sometimes people don't pay attention at all and they just don't see the Briar ulted and they stand still. But don't pray for that, yes, people aren't so bad at it. But yeah, you could go Titanic Hydra now. You still want HP. HP is a very good stat. On Briar, as I explained, my healing right now bonus is at 65% HP. But, it's a bit of a fucking troll play. Why go Titanic Hydra when I can go Overlord's Bloodmail? Overlord's Bloodmail, guys, got buffed pretty hard. Build pet is decent, double tunneler, just a lot of stats, 500 fucking HP. Don't mind it, 30 AD. But this item gives you more healing. Because, as I said, the passive and the W scale with AD, and Overlord's Bloodmail is going to end up giving you a lot more AD than Titanic Hydra, which means that you will be tankier by building this item. Isn't that lovely? You basically get kind of the biggest amount of stat checking potential if you buy this item second. As you can see right now, it's at 57 AD, pretty much 60 AD. If I go to low health, it's gonna give me another, let's say probably 23. So I'm gonna end up being 80 AD at low HP, which is where Briar gets a lot of value because champion loves fighting at low health. And here I could go over the wall to finish off the Varus. That would be a simple play, that's what most people will do. But let's think a bit smarter. I have like 600 movement speed right now because of how Briar ult works, which means that my character is going to automatically chase the enemies into this direction. So I can go to kill Hui instead. I can use my Q and W on the Hui. But instead I go for the Varus. And I can kill the Hui as well, because he was a little bit greedy and misplayed. And then I could have also killed these guys, because as I mentioned, I'm very tanky with Overlord's Bloodmail. Look at this thing, it's giving me actually like 85 with it right now, which is pretty juicy. And if I play this better, I would have to E this combo by Jarvan. I thought it was gonna miss, and I can go for W, then E, and then stall for another W. I don't know, it's just a bad play. I should just E and then I get a W, and probably I'll have enough sustain to get a second W heal and just get a double kill because these guys have no flashes. Or maybe not, because Brand had Ignite. I could definitely perhaps die to Ignite. That's definitely valid. Doesn't really matter. Point is, yeah, not only you are a lot tankier with Overlord's Bloodmail than Titanic Hydra, but the damage is about the same. If you go low HP, you can actually get more DPS, because Briar's passive is quite strong, scaling with AD and HP. It's a big stat stick. And on top of that, not only Overlord's Bloodmail is overall better as a second item, it's also much better scaling. While Titanic Hydra is just 40 AD, this item can scale up to 120, 130, 140 AD in the late game at low health. And even straight up, you can get like 80, 90 AD or something. So, I'm covering my early mid game, but I'm also getting a better item in the late game. This is why you shouldn't build Titanic Hydra on this character, because you don't need a wave clear. Black Cleaver is a better first item, and Overlord's Bloodmail is a better second item. But what should you buy third? What should be your goal now as Briar? How should you itemize? As you can see, I have Full Magic Metal and Ruby Crystal that is going to build into Spirit Visage. Why Spirit Visage? Because, once again, I'm gonna increase my healing more. So it means that if you combine the Spirit Visage passive with this passive, I'm going to get around, I don't know, 35-40% increased healing or something. So that's, once again, massive healing. And you want to keep stacking HP items on Briar, not just because of her HP ratios, but also because now you have Overlord's Bloodmail. You really want to avoid items like Eclipse, Bork, Yuntal or whatever lethality bullshit items like Collector that people buy from time to time on this Briar. Because Briar only has one purpose. You have to understand the champion at its core and its win conditions. Briar cannot win through split pushing or side laning, for example, like a Nocturne, or a Volibear or an Udyr, which they are very strong sideliners, because Briar's damage to towers is really mediocre. Her W doesn't work on towers, you're just kicking the tower, there's just no value, and she has no escapes. If people collapse on you, unless you can actually win 1v2 or 1v3, you are going to die. The only upside is that maybe you could join your team with your ultimate, so there is value to pushing some lanes if you're really far ahead. But obviously that's also super unreliable, because we know Briar are not that easy to hit from across the map. It's not like you play Shen. Therefore, I think the best way to play Briar is to simply fight a lot, group, team fight. Your win condition is not objectives, it's not side laning, it's simply fighting. Get as strong as possible, farm as much as you can, collect everything that you can, and fight, win through fighting. It's a fighting champion. Limit testing, overwhelming enemies, and outplaying them by their overall disrespect towards your character. Because a lot of players don't understand exactly what Briar does. It's still a pretty misunderstood, somewhat new champion in League of Legends, okay? That's why her tools can be really great in teamfights for engaging, frontlining, front backing. You have the Black Cleaver core item combined with the Shred from Q, which also shreds magic resistance, by the way, and I have magic damage champions on my team, 3. And even though bot lane did really badly this game and mid lane kind of accomplished nothing, was still able to hard carry this game. Of course, they made a lot of mistakes. This is not the best showcase of how to 1v9 with Briar, but it's still a solid one, especially because these guys in bot lane were super fucking tilted. They were spamming me from like level 2 to gank bot lane and stuff like that, which is always hella funny in solo queue. Anyways, guys. Hitting frontliners because of the bleed you can stack on their main player, let's say like Jarvan, and shredding his armor, Q Black Cleaver, healing of him with a W, is very similar gameplay to Volibear actually. Then, once they switch their focus to you, they use a lot of abilities, you can push them back with Chilling Scream, tank some damage to damage reduction, heal back up, and reposition with another W ideally. Because Briar cannot really play fights in and out like a lot of other champions in League, well, most of them. You don't have very good control over your character. So you kind of have to build really tanky like this in a way where you maximize your healing and teamfight potential to be sort of a drain tank. That is, in my opinion, the value of Briar. And then I go for Sundered Sky. Why? Because just like Aatrox, you have a lot of synergy. By the time I have this item, my increased healing will be about almost 100%, which means my Sundered Sky healing compared to the average champion will be doubled. And even better, nice little flash there to survive, if I have Spirit Visage, even more synergy with Sundered Sky. Let's have a look at Overall's Bloodmail currently. It's giving me 74 AD, and then like 33. What does that mean? Almost 110 AD on just one item, which is going to transition into a lot more healing and damage than Titanic Hydra. It's just a very solid way to build Briar, and I'll be real with you, the champion got buffed pretty hard by Overall's Bloodmail being buffed, so now it's a real option. It's making me more excited to look into this champion, because I like a lot of aspects about Briar, which is the sustain, the sort of almost juggernaut-ish capabilities, the targeted CC. Thank you, Riot Games, for making a new targeted CC character. I love targeted CC in League of Legends. Yeah, when you combine all of this HP and healing with the resistances from her ultimate, whenever you land a good ult and land an AoE fear, you're gonna be pretty strong in teamfights. And that's how you should view Briar, as a sort of frontline-ish. You don't want to always be the main engage, first guy to go in, but sort of frontline-ish, damage soaker, drain tank carry. Dance is also extremely good, although it doesn't give HP. Because, yeah, you can get some amplified healing, but just very good synergy with the kit. Of course, Dance doesn't heal that much. When you get a kill, it's mostly the bleed that you are cleansing. Either way, in a lot of games you can build it. The only reason I went Sundered Sky here is because they have a lot of mixed damage. So since they mostly deal magic damage to me with these carries, Varus does pretty much 50-50 damage, I'd rather have an item with a lot of HP and straight up healing rather than some armor. But that then should be good as well. And look what happens here. This is the beauty of some changes that Riot Games ended up making. Baron has 3 variations. And this variation happened to suck this guy in. Juicy Jarvan. make sure to drop a like and check out my links. You know, subscription, write something funny below, let me know what you would like to see next, break down some builds, find out what's good, because this is content that you cannot find anywhere, guys. Where the fuck can you find what you can build on Aatrox jungle, or what is the correct build on Briar, or how you can actually play AD Skarner, or how you can actually play Shen jungle? You can never fucking find. This is unique content in the world, okay? It's not random, it's not just let's try some funny fucking build like Zwag or whatever that guy that plays Zerat name is. I don't even know if he still makes videos. It's just actually thinking about the game in a critical way, and you can learn a lot from me. Alright? But yeah, we got the main channel with additional guides, also Patreon, whatever you guys want to see, there's more content to come. Jump in! Fuck, man. Funny Briar, I'm just thinking the entire team. And also because of this Baron variation, there's a wall that I can knock this Jarvan the fuck out into the wall, get the burst damage off, get a kill a bit faster so I can switch to my next target. Thank you, Baron. That was really great. These fights happen very rarely, very funny. And I can clean up, and after the fight is done, we can check out my Son of the Sky healing, because we just bought it. Let's have a look. Almost 1200 healing. Distance with the bleed and stuff like that could have been even maybe a bit better. But overall, it's very similar value, very similar value. The last item though will be Jaksho the Protean. Why is that? Well, if you have watched my in-depth Volibear guide, you would know that healing scales really well with resistances. So if you can get this Jaksho in late game, which can synergize really well with your ultimate as well, because it's gonna multiply these resistances by 30%, and ideally you're gonna have some items like Spear Visage or Distance, and that's why those items are really good as well, because this champion is healing based, so resistances are amazing. You really want to avoid, as I said, items that have no HP and no resistances. Always buy either HP or resistances on every single slot, otherwise you're not going to be a relevant frontliner, you're not going to get this broken feeling on Briar. Unlucky Wolf there. I saw that he was doing a rebuff, but they actually didn't end up fighting at all. Whereas Bloodmail is scaling up even harder, at like 80 AD on it right now, which is gonna go up to like 120 probably. Very good item. And think about it, I could have had Titanic Hydra right now, but instead I'm getting like 80 extra AD, more damage, a lot more healing, way better scaling. As I said, Briar doesn't scale that well in a lot of cases. But this item definitely helps her out. There's the Jaksho. Now, if I press my R and the Jaksho stacks, I can go to like 300 MR or something. Wouldn't that be crazy? Especially because, for example, this way doesn't have Void Staff yet. Brand is smarter and he actually went for some Void Staff. This guy has Terminus. But even then, what am I left with? 200 MR? I still take no damage. I still have almost 5k HP. I'm still out healing everything. And I'll be very strong. Let's see what happens here. Of course, it's a turbo fed Briar. I'm thinking maybe I should do more gameplay stuff or just vomit some content on this channel. Let's say I make a video with 3 Briar games. Either way, let's have a look. I take no damage because I'm using my healing, Sun the Sky proc, and then press E. Knock the guy away. R back in. Mega healing. Just look how much I'm fucking healing, my friends. I'm swimming in abilities and it just doesn't matter. And it can be rough if these guys are full build, when you are full build. But Briar is a pretty snowbally champion and this is how you're gonna look to play out games. Especially in lower elos, because she's a noob stomper. Just have to know your limits and farm. That's really important on Briar. Try to get close to 10 CS per minute like I did this game. Get those levels and you will dominate with this type of build. I'm probably gonna play Briar more. I don't know if she's viable enough for actual higher elo like Master Plus, but definitely Overall's Bloodmail alone put her up a tier in my list. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, hope everything was delivered, your expectations were fulfilled from the thumbnail, from the intro, from the title. And if you enjoy this type of content, check out other videos. I have yesterday posted an Aatrox jungle video. Maybe you'll like that one. G motherfucking G.